Business Takeout presents The Healthy Entrepreneur with Maxine Choy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Entrepreneur Show. My name is Maxine Choy, and I'm your host. And tonight we have a guest by the name of Oliver Levy. Oliver, welcome to the show. I want to first talk about the show, and then I'll tell the audience about who you are and what you do. So the Healthy Entrepreneur is brought to you by Business Takeout. It is a platform which hosts podcasts as well as helping businesses with striving and using the tools that they have to have a successful business. They do this through recognizing Black wealth through business education. If you would like to learn more about Business Takeout, please follow them on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and even join the group, the Facebook group that they have here. They have a wealth of information and always happy to serve you. Again, my name is Maxine Choy, and I'm a health and nutrition coach, and I work with women specifically to help guide them into a healthy lifestyle so that they can maintain their health and well-being. You can book a session with me if you'd like to figure out how you can get started on your way to health. So, my guest, Oliver Levy. Oliver, you are the CEO of Mindful Parenting ToolKit. And when I first found you, I thought, wow, what an interesting conversation and topics that you'd bring up about parenting. And you got me sometimes because you hit some buttons. You talk about young children and older, like middle-aged children, and of course older children. And you talked about the struggles that parents go through. You even gave tips on how to handle situations with children. So I like that about you. So I thought we need to talk about this, especially now with I call it post-pandemic parenting. Pre-pandemic parenting and post-pandemic parenting. And I'm telling you, there is a gap between that as to what happened before, during, and after. So let's talk about what you do and get the audience to get to know you.
Sure. Thank you. First of all, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for this platform. You're doing amazing. And
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again, my name is Oliver Levy. I'm the CEO of Mindful Parenting Toolkit that you alluded to. And in a nutshell, over the last 4 years, so basically I've been studying parenting for over 9 years. Over the last 4 years, I've developed, I would say, a 3-step process to crack the parenting code.
Yes.
So parents can enjoy the emotional connection with their kids, correct misbehavior for good, teach characteristic skills, and create harmony in their home with fewer frustrations.
I like that. Definitely. Because as you know, there has been a lot of frustrations with dealing with teenagers or any children in the home with parents, especially now that our children are different now. They're not the same as before. And depending on what era you grew up, if you're a baby boomer or if you're even a millennial who has children, it's a different set of kids that we have. And they've been exposed to so many different things. And for us as parents, we try to parent how our parents parent us, right? So, right? And when our children rebuttal and, give us all these kickbacks, we have to be ready, and we can't lay down the law the way that we used to. And I don't like to use the word can't, because I think we should be able to figure out a way to do this.
Correct.
So, exactly. So those 3-step process that you mentioned, I like that, and I think that it's a nice way to set up a process in which you can use as a guide, right? Yeah.
Correct. And I'm glad you said that, because I call it, the way we were raised, I call it accidental parenting cycle.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because there's no way you're going to raise your child outside of that. You have to unlearn a few things, right?
Mm-hmm.
My story coming from my 28th year old, he was raised exactly how I was raised, and I lost that relationship so quickly. By the time he was
Mm.
6, I lost that relationship because there's a fine line between discipline and child abuse.
Oh,
Right? Oh yeah, I'm not afraid to say that, right?
there is.
Because that's why I was raised, and nothing against our parents because they used the tool that they had. Whatever they knew, they did. They didn't
Yes.
know many things, so we can't blame them. Now we understand. We have so many information at our fingertips. Now we have no excuses, right? We just have
Yes.
to learn how to dig deep. We have to be mindful of a few things and unlearn a few things
Right.
so we can learn the new way of parenting. So we have to unlearn so we can learn.
Right. So, do you have children of your own?
Yes, I do. I have 3 kids. One is 28-year-old King,
Mm-hmm.
my 13-year-old Prince, and my 9-year-old going on 19 Princess. So family of 4 and my beautiful Queen Lisa for sure.
Your wife, right?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. Awesome. So it seems like you have like a huge, you've got some gaps there. So I can just imagine the different ebbs and flows that you're going through as a parent. So tell me, pre-pandemic, right? Because we're not going to talk about how they were before. Because how they were before, I think it was like what, cell phones and I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
The usual children things that they were doing. But there's just something to be said about what happened during the pandemic with our children and how it has affected them and us mentally and
Well,
emotionally.
before I get into all that, because parenting over the last 9 years or even 4 years teaching parents, I realized that in some cases, parenting could be very personal. So I'm going to say this for your audience. Um, I might say certain things, it may offend parents, but
Yes,
that's not my intention. And that's my disclaimer. And I'm sticking to that. So
fine with
I
me.
need to say that because, we're going to get into some deep stuff.
Yes,
Right off the bat, I would say before the pandemic, Maxine, there was already a pandemic in the home.
yes.
The pandemic itself, COVID pandemic, amplifies
Mm-hmm.
things.
Oh, yes. In a lot
And
of homes.
yes, correct. And I was within a month or a few weeks, I got a few interviews, and I was just saying to my interviewers that this COVID, in some sense, it was a good thing because
Mm-hmm.
it's from my perspective, uh, it allowed parents to slow down,
Yes,
spend some time with your kids, look on all the different things that you could be doing at home with your kids. It's a busy life. I'm not sure about you or some parents, but for us, our kids are into sports, different kind of sports. They're doing extracurricular activities. That we're just busy, always moving, right? Me and my wife
right.
will work different. When I used to work part time, I mean full time at the hotel, we like couldn't see each other until weekends. So we're busy. COVID hits, it slows us down. On the other hand, because parents are home with their children now, it's more frustration happening.
Absolutely.
So there was already a pandemic was happening at home before the actual COVID, which was just like you said, right?
Yep.
Kids are so caught up into so many different, I call it extra stimulations.
Yes.
They weren't being bored. One of the key thing to raising children, doesn't matter what age, they have to be time to be bored.
Mm. Why do you say that?
Yes, because if they're not bored, if you're being stimulated all the time, there's devices, there's gadgets, there's TV, there's YouTube, there's so many different things happening, and you stimulated all the time. How are you gonna have time for yourself to rethink, to figure out who you are, especially a teenager, and to digest the world around you? By the time that happens, you're already depressed. And I don't want to get into all that yet because I know you're gonna ask me a question. You're gonna be depressed. Anxiety, depression is happening.
Well, like when you say they should have a time to be bored, to me, that translates the nagging. Mommy, I'm bored. I'm bored. There's nothing to do. So,
Correct. Exactly, because now, because parents are just not mindful of how to even have a conversation with their child around boredom.
I see. Okay.
Because quickly they'll say, you know what, you can watch TV for a bit, you can log on this, you can have this, you can, because it's easier now for parents to have their time, or the less, like you said, less nagging. It's
Right.
easier for the less nagging, and I can't blame parents. I always say, like, I'm a very believer of, there's no parents or bad parents.
Mm-hmm.
The simple thing is, parents are just not mindful of a few things. Simple approach to a child, saying them being bored, that can be fixed in 3 days. Simple approach.
Okay.
And so now the child, you might say, well, then what do you mean? Then
Yeah. What do you mean?
you have to have those conversations where ch- the child starts do self reflections now and get what you're saying, instead of I don't understand, because you can't just say it's okay to be bored. We can't have that conversation. They're like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
But once you have meaningful conversation and open-ended questions and stuff like
Yes.
that, and this has to be ongoing,
Right.
right? And it has to be ongoing for them to really, really understand. Take like 3-4 days to
I
get them
see.
to really understand and start self-reflect, especially older kids from 9, 10 up. They can do some
Yeah.
self-reflection.
You see, I would think more. You're right. I would think more of the older children to do that. But I mean, I think even just from speaking to a lot of parents and even myself who have children who are a little bit older, so, in between 10 and even 25, let's just say, right? They are very different in the way that they think, and even the activities they want to do, or even where they want to go. And in some cases, they don't want to go anywhere with you, and they don't want to go out to do anything. They want to just order Uber Eats and stay on their phones. Um, I wanted to
Because you have
ask.
to remember, sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but you
That's
have to
okay.
remember, one of the biggest thing is parents must be mindful of that boredom piece. Gives them time to be creative.
To be creative,
Yes,
yes,
there's
it does.
no way you will be creative if you always being stimulated by an outside factor. There's no way to
Absolutely.
internalize things. When
Right.
that child reach 12, 13, even though they might not know exactly what they want to do, they should be
Hmm.
able to have some idea of how life works, not when they reach 21.
Exactly. So I have a question. I mean, yeah, you're right. What are you finding is the main or the most popular struggles that parents are going through right now with their children?
Oh man, there's so many. One is not listening.
Okay, and the next
Two
one.
is always on their devices.
Okay,
And three, I would say, can't get them to bed on time, because enough sleep is
I'm
not.
laughing because my daughter just walked into the room and she heard everything you said, and I'm sure she's going to tell me later on. That's not true, mommy.
Lack of sleep is huge
Yes, it is.
for families, right?
It
And
definitely
there's
is.
a chain reaction after that, right? So those are the three things I would say. It's a big challenge for parents.
Absolutely, and I think with all of those, right, comes how how it affects them emotionally and mentally, and how it affects you. So I know we were having a conversation backstage about emotional intelligence, and we talked about the fact that we should, or it is good to have enough emotional intelligence to parent, because as you know, our children are going to make us angry, sad, frustrated, disappointed, and feel enraged and feel sad. Like all kinds of different emotions are going to be happening to us, or happens to us on a daily basis, as a result of the way our children behave and how they respond to us. So let's talk a little bit about what emotional intelligence is when it comes to parenting.
Well, first of all, your kids shouldn't make you mad.
Oh,
No, you make your own
why?
self mad.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Your
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
not you like should be frustrated and mad. You make your own self mad. You know why? Because so first of all, when it comes to emotional intelligence, and my program is set up in such a way that it's a 7-week program, 7 modules, and the first 3 modules is exactly what emotional intelligence is for the parents.
Mm,
Yes,
okay.
because now you want to teach, you want to foster emotional intelligence in your children, and then you can't control your emotions, because the only reason why we're frustrated because we can't control our emotions.
Oh, that's right. That is so true. That
Correct.
is so, so
and,
true.
and it's not easy. I'm not going to be telling you here and saying, oh yeah, it's easy, this is what you do. No, it is not easy. That's something that I've worked on for a very long time. There's nothing that my kids can do right now that got me got frustrated in the last 3 years. Nothing. If they walk in
Hmm.
here right now and throw my laptop off the stands right here, I would never be upset.
Okay. And
They
you've
give me a
mastered that.
chance to self-reflect. Okay,
Okay. So you
correct.
self-reflect.
Self-reflect, and that tells me, you know what that tells me? I'm going really deep now.
Yeah, I want to know.
That tells me there I need to work on something. I need to teach my child something. That is it. It has nothing to do with they're mad outside. Something happened with like my son and my wife, or whatever it is happening outside. It's something that I lack in teaching them, or teaching him, my son. If I'm talking about my son, for example, that's why he came in here and hit my computer off, which he knows that I'm doing an interview. So that's the
Wow.
self-reflection, and that's
Yeah.
not easy.
Yeah,
However,
no.
I make it easy to teach parents that, because
Yes.
I know what it takes. I've gone through it. It took me like a good probably probably about 2 years to get to that
Right.
level. But it doesn't really, because I have to self-learn. I have to go through a lot of trial and error, and not everything you research and you understand, even from psychologists, really work.
Right. Right.
Right. But what with my philosophy and my mythology, it worked no matter your parenting style or your child's temperament. It doesn't really matter.
Right. I want to say good evening to Andrea and Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrea. It's a pleasure to see you. And for anybody who's watching, please like and share this podcast if you feel there's somebody who'd be interested in it. So Oliver, I want to get back to a part where you talked about when our child should not make us angry. Um, but what if the child is doing something that's blatant, that is like, it's been long standing. You've talked about it over and over, and it's deliberate. How do you not get angry over that? Like, how do you not just want to smack them, or say something?
Like I said, it's a little bit easier for me because I understand and I have the tools and strategies, and I'm very mindful of what cause the
The
child to
problem.
misbehave.
Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of parents, most parents want to correct misbehavior, just like you're saying, right? First, they must understand what caused the misbehavior. So now I'm going to go a little bit deeper now. There's 2 things, and this is going to be very shocking for you and your audience. There's 2 reasons why kids misbehave. Any misbehavior under the sun,
I want
from
to know.
birth till they leave your house. Because I don't want to say teenager, because some 25-year-old live with their parents. Yeah,
Yes.
right? And you can teach them a few things. No, you're not a parent anymore.
Exactly.
You're a mentor at that time, right?
So
But
true.
2 things. The lack of, and for those who are listening, write this down, the lack of positive attention and the lack of positive power.
Oh.
That's it. This
Okay.
is their
Let's
biological makeup.
okay. Let's break this down. The
Oh,
lack of
here we
I'm
go.
gonna have to write this down. The lack of positive attention and
Correct.
lack of what?
Positive power.
So can you talk to me about what you mean by positive attention?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. A lot of parents
Yes.
ask that. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have all the leeway to turn your house upside down. Okay, that's not the power I'm talking about.
Okay.
So
I'm making notes.
every single person have free will. Every single person has free will. You understand that, right? Because I have to come
Yes.
from that perspective. Free will. So from a
Period.
child, if you put a newborn baby on the change table and you hold that baby down, within 7 seconds they start scrumming around.
Puts
The
in the
free will.
mouth, everything. Yeah.
Correct. So having said that, the moment they reach 2, they know that. That's why they said no and start kind of go against you there, because they know that they can talk. Their free will. They control themselves. They only do certain things because out of fear by the time they reach 9 or 10. After that, they're gonna challenge you.
Yeah.
Because so so once I said that, now when it comes to power means they need this is their biological makeup. You can search it and you'll find it. This is their biological makeup. All of us, we need power. We need some sort of control of our own lives.
Mm.
And you might say, well, I can't trust my 9-year-old home alone. Not that. That's not what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is choices, for example. Choices equal power. So, for example, if a child, let me give an example. A child they don't want to take a shower. It's bedtime. They don't want to take a shower. I'm going to use real examples.
Right.
Instead of most parents would say, well, sorry, you know the rules in our house. You must take a shower before bed. That's the rule in our house. So you don't have a choice. I'm sorry. And you talk nicely to them.
Yes.
There's no power there. They have power struggle. That's why there's power struggle. Now, all about saying, um, you want to use the red towel or the blue towel? In their mind, I don't want to go too much. I don't want to go too much right now. But in their mind, something switch the moment you say that.
Because now you're giving them a choice to choose what they want.
Correct. That's it.
Okay, I get that. And I really like that example, but I don't want to forget a thought. The positive attention was you talked about having free will. So where does the positive attention that you need to give them come in?
Oh, you're going down the right avenue. So the reason why I use positive in those two terms, because oh, so let me set another stage now.
No
A
problem.
child, say a regular child, a typical child can go a week without food unless they have internal sickness. They can go a week without food and they can survive. A child cannot go one day without attention and power. Cannot. It's not happening. So
Right. Okay, I
now,
see what you mean.
so
Yeah.
they usually get negative attention and negative power
I got it.
equal misbehavior. Positive attention and positive power equal your
Wow.
self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
yes.
now when you start saying, well, you don't have no choice, that's called attention in a negative way. The moment you want a phone call or you want an interview here, and that's the moment they decide to, if you have siblings, they decide to fight.
Mm.
And or if you have a younger child, they decide to jump in your lap and interrupt your life. You see that all the
Right.
time.
Yes.
Only
Yes.
because when I used to go on live when my kids were younger,
Mm-hmm.
there's a 7-step process to give them positive attention and positive power. I
Right.
make sure I do that. You can do it in 10 minutes. I make sure I
You
give
do?
them that. Oh yeah, 10 minutes. Right? I give them that in 10 minutes
Yep.
and boom, they leave me alone for the
Got it.
entire day. And that's what parents need to be mindful of.
Right.
So because we've been giving them negative, 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 by the time they reach a certain age, depends on the personality of the child, now you're gonna have a lot of power struggles. Because now picture this, Maxine.
Oliver,
You've
I
been
think you're frozen.
oh, am
Okay,
I
I think
still frozen?
Oliver's frozen. So I'll continue talking.
Am I still
Um,
frozen?
we discussed about what happens when our children are become defiant with the pandemic and what's happened. A lot of children and parents' relationship has changed quite a bit. Oliver, are you back?
Check 1, 2.
Do I have you back now? Okay. I see you moving. So let me
Yeah,
get you back.
I don't know. I didn't see myself frozen. I see you frozen. Yeah, Maxine is frozen. You're frozen. I'm not sure, but I can hear you. Oh yes, I saw two comments that I'm not frozen. So I'm gonna flip it because I couldn't hear her when what she thought I was frozen. So let me pick up where I left off. While we try to get her back. So what I was saying is, as let me see if I can gather my thoughts. Yeah. So when it comes to attention and power, these two things are their biological makeup. These two things kids can't live without. The reason why they're giving parents, whether it's back talking or not listening, whatever it is, because those two things are missing. So attention and power equal, or negative attention and negative power, which way they usually get. If a child, say for example, a toddler or a younger child throwing a temper tantrum, what do we typically do? Well, depends on your culture, right? But we gonna probably grab that child, yell at that child, or take out that child out the store, whatever it is. That's attention seeking behavior. If we driving and there's fighting in the back, and also it's not because of they kind of take each other toys or whatever they're fighting over. That's not it. It's the lack of attention. So when they do that, all you're gonna do, you're gonna probably pull over, and you're gonna be like, "What's wrong with you guys? Can't you see I'm driving?" And that's attention-seeking behavior. So pretty much 98% of parents' challenges comes from attention seeking or power seeking. And it's usually when they're not getting enough attention, it escalates into power. And when a child reach 9, 10, depends on the child's temperament, it's going to go into power struggle. And teenager, it gets worse. Why? Because so many years we as parents, we've been taking away their power that they fully need. They've been starving of power. So can you imagine we tell them what to wear, when to eat, when to wake up, when to go to bed. We control everything in their lives. Even when they're a teenager, we try to control everything in their life. And you might say, um, if I don't tell him to make up his bed, he won't.
I'm back.
Voila, you're back. I was kind of rambling on and talking. Well,
That's okay. That's okay. I apologize. I'm so
that's
sorry.
okay. That's
For
okay.
some reason, StreamYard wasn't accepting my drive, my Safari drive. So
Oh,
yeah, which
okay,
is
got
weird.
it.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
that's okay. So I was just kind of talking about. Can you imagine from birth till 13, for example, you're telling the child when to wake up, when to go to school, when to brush teeth, when to have breakfast,
Oh,
every single thing, every step of the way. It becomes annoying when they reach a certain age based on their temperament.
absolutely, absolutely.
So they're gonna stand up to you, especially when they reach like teenagers. They're gonna sometime
Challenge you.
challenge you because
Yeah, they
and
do.
they can't articulate it because their power is been taken away.
Yeah,
And then you might say, well, and I made this point earlier before you come on. You might say, well, if I don't tell him to make up his bed, then he won't. Of course he won't. But there's a different way to tell him without taking his power away.
yeah.
There's different ways to communicate.
I
Go
never
ahead.
thought about that, about the power and the freedom that they want, and that's what they fight. That's what they struggle for.
Correct.
And we as adults, we think, no, I tell you what to do. I brought you into this world, so I tell you when to come and go and sit and whatever. And also, what comes into this house, what food we eat, all that stuff. But
Correct.
at the same time, though, there's some children who take advantage of that, and
Uh,
that.
so that's a misconception.
Okay, all
It
right.
is a yes, it is a misconception. This is the reason why we as parents we have to make that mind shift. We have to
Mm,
shift that mind, right?
mm.
Because and a lot of parents said the exact same thing to me. But no, they're gonna take advantage. They're gonna
They're
think
also
I'm
trying to
soft.
control the
Yeah, they're gonna
situation.
think I'm soft. Yes, yes, yes. It's our mind because human
Yeah.
beings are compassionate people.
Yes, we are.
We develop a thing at home here where I've learned this years ago. That the more you say yes, the less you have to say no.
Okay. I
And and it's funny that you mentioned it because since last week, my kids, both of them, my younger kids, because my older is not living with me, the 13-year-old and the 9-year-old, they come together and they say every Wednesday it's
Mhm.
going to be a yes day. So we have to say yes to everything on all Wednesdays.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
I
me and my
like
wife
that.
agree with it. Here's the thing: you're probably like, "Whoa!" They hardly say things out of the norm that we're not going to say yes to, or we're going to say no to. And so last week it started, and I said, "Not really." And he goes, "Today is Wednesday," and I say, "Yeah, go ahead."
Okay.
And
So
because the reason why I want to make that point is not to kind of the reason I want to make that point is because we're compassionate people, all human beings.
yes.
And once you start having a meaningful, you start off with, it just doesn't happen like that. I can't just take any random kid and say, okay, I'm going to say yes. Of course, they're going to take advantage because they don't have that meaningful conversation where I get them to a certain level. It's not
Right.
about telling them what to do or ordering them. No, it's all about meaningful conversation. From a child is 3, you can start having meaningful conversation with them so they totally understand. So the moment you even come up with a rule like that, they're not going to push it.
Hmm.
It's us now.
Interesting.
We're thinking that, no, I can't take that chance.
I'm sure a lot of parents are watching and thinking, "Oh no, not my child. My child is different. My
I,
child
I
is
develop
stubborn."
a thing called parenting report card. And I get a few comment and say, "You brave." They gave me reports. So you see, they get report from school, right?
Yes.
I design a report card. I give it to them and fill it out based on me. Yes,
Oh
A, B,
man.
C, all that stuff. It's in
Send me a
details,
copy.
right?
Send me a copy.
Yes, it's on my Instagram too. I'll send you a copy. My son gave me an F in helping him with homework,
An
right?
F.
Yes, because I don't help them
I
with
probably
homework.
get an F too.
No, but I don't get. I never. I don't believe in helping. Well, that's a whole different ballgame. But I
It's
don't
a whole
help kids
different
with homework.
ballgame.
Yeah, I don't help kids with homework. Right?
Right.
I give them different tools to let them to be successful without me have to get involved. But yeah. So you see when you do things like this, then they won't take advantage. There's little things you engage with them,
Yeah.
simple things, Maxine. You engage with them on a regular basis, from 3-year-old to teenagers.
Yeah.
They're gonna start looking at you. That's the point here. They start looking at you differently, not our annoying mom or annoying dad.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
They're
I, you
looking
know,
at
I
you
guess,
totally different.
I guess I never really thought of it that way because unless you go to therapy where somebody like yourself can help you break things down and
Correct.
analyze, yeah, you won't think. All you're thinking is that I'm parenting the way I know how. This is my child. This is my house. These are the rules, and that's it. Now, sure, we get advice from friends and we get advice from maybe other family members, but our child is so everybody's we're so different. Every child is so different, and
Correct.
one you may have, like you said, you have 3 kids and they all have different personalities. So are you going to be adapting the same law to or rules to the children this based on their personalities? Like, are you doing the
Yeah,
same or do you have
yeah.
to change? Because
And I love,
it's a
I love
struggle.
you. You're asking an amazing question.
Thank
Kudos
you.
to you. Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's going to open up a lot of insights for your audience. So There's this, and you're very right. And I get this question all the time. There's different parenting styles, and all kids are different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. Every single child are the same on three things. And I want you to correct me. Be honest and correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I'm gonna write them down.
Every child, no, before you write them down, I'm telling you
Okay,
first and
I'm
then
listening.
correct me. Every child is all the same based on three elements.
Okay,
One, they are growing. Correct or no?
they're growing. Yes,
Okay.
yes, they're
Number
growing.
two, they have emotions.
Absolutely.
Okay. Number three, they have thoughts or they have some control over themselves.
Opinions and
That's
thoughts
it.
and
That's it. So based on
personality.
those three, based on those three, that's exactly what the tools that I teach parents gear towards. That is
So,
it.
Oliver, do you offer counseling for parents who are struggling with parenting a child?
That's what I do.
Okay.
Of
No,
course.
I know that you do, but I just wanted to know if and just want if anybody's in the audience watching or from anywhere you are, because this podcast is broadcast not just in Toronto but all over the United States, UK, Africa, um, everywhere. So there are a lot of people who can reach out to you to get some advice and help them navigate their way through parenting because um, oftentimes we feel that it's the children that has a like our child is a problem, and we feel that we're right in what we're doing. We are parenting the way we know how, and we have to be mindful that we are parenting children who are in a different era. Like, I have a niece. She's going to be 2 in October. To me, she's still a baby. I swear. She'll pick up my phone and she'll go to the YouTube icon. She knows where it is, and she'll click on YouTube and press a video. And you know when the ads come and the little skip ad, she presses that little button, and dare not somebody send a message and it pops down. She just swipes it up,
Oh yeah.
and I'm
Oh
like,
yes. I
and it's
love it.
yeah, I know. And the thing is, it's like you wonder, and she's not the only one. She's a smart little girl. But what I'm saying is, we are raising different children, different um, mental focus, different level of learning, different interests. How are we going to be able to get them to go out to the beach and spend the day with us, or go play a game of basketball or baseball? They're going to want to stay in. I have people in my family who or people I know whose children just want to stay home, so and just play video games. And I think where I'm getting at, and we didn't get to talk because we're running out of time, but I'm getting at the point where we had, like you said, there was already a pandemic in your home, which I'm sure in a lot of homes there was a pandemic, and of course the pandemic and the lockdown made it worse. And now that we're out of it, I feel that a lot of parents are probably mentally drained and
Correct.
exhausted from all that, because now we have a different mindset as a parent, as an adult, as to what we want our lives to be going forward, especially since the lockdown. So with
Correct.
that saying, if our children are going to be still causing that pressure and that upset and the frustration, it affects us because we, like, I don't know about the audience, but a lot of adults I know, they're on a different level of life
Oh,
right
for
now,
sure. Yeah, for
right?
sure. And it's a
And
cycle. And
it's
when
a
it's affect
cycle.
us, our
Yeah.
reaction now affect them again. And then now you
Yes.
get into the mental
Oh,
health aspect.
yes. And I mean, I know that there are people watching who have children that are older, and they may be having some struggles with them, maybe just trying to help them navigate their way through a life that's so different, so much more expensive, so challenging, so dangerous, so risky. There's just so many elements there were so many levels to what life out there is for our children. And as a parent, it can be scary, right? But I also find parents are just saying, you know what? Not my problem. Let them
Yeah.
go out there and do what they have to do. I need to preserve my mental health. So,
And to that point, this is That's what breaks my heart.
It does.
I'm very passionate about, you know, parents and the next generation and the future generation. But before I go on, before I forget, your audience, and because I'm vibing and I like the vibe, um, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I can send you a link. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for it when you mentioned something. I was looking
Mm-hmm.
for it, but it was too quick. Um, I can provide a 2 sessions complimentary for your audience watching this. So I can send you a link if you're going to put in the replay. Oh, we're going to do it. I can send a link. So give them 2 sessions, and each session is an hour.
Okay. That's great.
Complimentary. That means free.
I love that.
And
Love that.
then it's not one of those things where two things, because I was doing this in the just when the pandemic started, right? It's not one of those things where I'm going to sell in my program at the end of the day. Zero.
Yes.
I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those things where it's just theory. You're going to get
Exactly.
hardcore real tools that you can use right away. And Maxine, brace yourself. The first tool that I'll teach parents, they're going to see results in the kids within 4 days.
Nice. I like that.
4 days.
Wow.
Like
Amazing.
real result. And the
Yeah.
reason why I teach that, because, obviously I want people to talk more about me, right? I'm going to be honest. I'm selfish in that way.
Yes.
But when they see results in 4 days, they're going to be like, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. This works.
So I'll provide that for your audience. So I just want to get that out of the way. What
Right.
was your question now? What were we talking about? I totally forget.
I was just talking about just how we're going forward as parents, and how
Oh
our
yes.
emotional
Yeah.
or mental
So
health.
my talk when I used to go out and present is my topic is we're parenting in a world that we all know and understand but no longer exist.
Mm, mm. I like that.
No
Okay.
longer exists.
Yeah, no longer
So
exists. Yes.
real quick, I'm going to paint a few pictures for you so you kind of understand the depth of how I mentor parents. Not too long ago, where um, women used to stay home, and whether you're a wife or whatever the case is, you have a husband or the man of the house go out and come in, and
Yeah.
sometimes the man would say, "I need dinner on the table by 5:30 or else." Right? On weekends, they'll come in and watch TV, put their feet up, watch TV. A woman was doing laundry, you name it, everything, just
Everything.
constantly working on all the stuff. Not too long ago, teachers used to spank kids at school. I don't know about you, but I've gone through that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your boss would say, you know what, I need this in my email by 4:30, else you're fired. This
Right.
was not too long ago, probably 2 decades ago. Why am
Right.
I saying this? Because over the years, the court system and laws change.
Yes.
So we're not in the authoritative approach anymore. So if you're late at work, you're late 4 or 5 times, your boss will come to you and say, you know what, Maxine, I know you're very valuable to our company and something's going on. We have a helpline, or we have a line that can help you. Or some places will say, you know what, how about take the day off and come back tomorrow and fresh. That's called democratic approach.
Yes. Yes.
So I want you to look on these two things now. One is authoritative approach. One is the democratic approach. So we come from authoritative mindset. We're
Yes.
still there.
We're still there. Yes.
We're still there.
Yes.
We're not reasoning with our kids. I reason with
Mm.
my kids. From my child was 3 years old in the grocery store, I'm people looking around like, who's he talking to? I'm reasoning with my 3-year-old like a big grown man.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have
So
to.
when they reach a certain age, they get it. So in the classroom, at workplace, on sports teams, what are the kids are seeing? They're seeing a democratic approach. Now they're living with you, they're experiencing authoritative approach.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the two worlds are
Collide.
mixing. So
Mm-hmm.
parents said to me, our parents say all the time, kids nowadays, it's not the kids nowadays. We didn't make the adjustment.
Yeah.
We're still there. We didn't make the adjustment. It's not the kids
Hmm.
nowadays. We have to
Yeah.
make that adjustment, and that's what's being mindful is all about. Parents know. The moment I tell you, you know what, you should be upset. You cause yourself upset and all that stuff. It's just that the little things that you're not mindful of. Can you imagine a newborn baby, and they're looking to you for everything,
Hmm. They are.
facial expression, the way you speak. So you tell me they're gonna say to themselves when they're new coming from the hospital, when I reach 13, I'm gonna give my mom a lot of problems. I'm gonna
Yeah.
back talk. I'm gonna do all this. No, where did they learn that from? Not from YouTube, not from
Mm.
the TV, not from
No.
friends.
No.
And no parents are bad parents. I don't want to
Oh
let
no.
parents get the whole idea. It's just a few things we're not mindful of. That's
You
the
are
difference.
so right. Oh wow. You know, and the thing is, it's funny because I do coach around mindfulness in everything that we do, right? Uh, Crystal says, so if I want our child to go clean the room, how do you reason? I'm trying to read this. Can you see that? Can you read it for me?
Yes,
Because I
yes.
can't see. Thank
How do you reason with them as opposed to telling them to do so? You can't tell
you.
them to clean their room. No, no, no.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
heard
happening.
that? You can't tell them to. You give
You
them a choice.
teach.
You
You
teach.
teach.
Okay, I see.
Telling days are gone. Gone.
Ooh, you hear
Telling
that?
days are
Telling
gone.
days are gone. Okay.
Yes, we don't tell. We teach. So teaching, obviously, there's a few steps toward, because the whole idea of we telling our kids to clean their room is because so let me go back. I like to set the stage. I like to go from root, right?
I got it.
Um, a child who, what's the term? A child who forgets always have parents who remembers.
Mm,
So if you keep on telling you, the whole point of us telling our kids to clean their room is so when they get older and they have their own house and they have their family, they're going to clean their room. It's not going to happen, Maxine,
right.
because somebody's always telling them. If you want to teach your son, he's 13, 14, you want to teach him to cook, are you going to cook for him every day until he's 21?
No.
You're going to teach him
Interesting.
to cook. Are you going to tell him, oh, go cook? You're a grown man now, go cook. No, you have to teach him. So we have to
Right.
teach our kids to be self-sufficient so they
Right.
clean their room without you have to tell them.
I love that.
So
Wow.
the person who asked the question, I can give you tools right now or a way to talk to your child to clean a room, but it's not going to happen. You know why it's not going to
Right.
happen, Maxine? Because now, remember I talk about a three-step process, right? A lot of parents are, let's say you're a farmer, right? And you believe in apples. You're planting apples to make a living. Are you first going to think of beautiful apples and all that stuff and how can I make apple juice and apple crumble and whatever it is apple can make? No.
Right.
You're going to figure out, okay, I need to plant the seed and I need to
Mm-hmm.
water it and
Mm-hmm.
sunlight and some tender loving care.
Yes.
Right? So now let's go back to cleaning the room. If I give you tools to clean the room, it's like me giving you tools to pick the apple.
Okay. Makes
You're
sense.
lost. You're
Yeah.
lost. I have to give you tools to the apple tree is there already, right?
Right.
No apple is there. Okay, I'm gonna give you tools now to pull away those bad weeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clear the branches from the other side so sunlight can get into it and water it every day. Now I give you the tools to pick the apples because now apples growing.
Makes sense.
So
Wow.
it's a short fix to tell a child or come up with some sort of strategy
Right.
without having connecting with them.
Right.
So my philosophy, my methodology is connect before correct.
I like that. We are running out of time, and I want to
Oh, we're
say,
running out of time. Oh my gosh, I was just having
oh
fun.
yeah, we're
I was
we're
just getting started.
we've passed the time.
Oh my
But
gosh,
that's
I'm so
okay.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, no, don't apologize because you've given some valuable tips here, and I do like your mythology, and I can't say that word mythology,
Yeah, you got it.
and the way that you break things down. That's really interesting. I've learned a lot. There was a comment from Chadwick that says, "Show me, teach me, involve me." I really like. Oh no, tell me, show me, then
Involve
involve me.
me.
Yeah, I like that.
But I would change the tell to teach
Teach.
and then
Okay.
so on. Yes, because we
Yeah.
don't tell anymore. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
So
we
thanks for your
teach.
comments, everyone. And for everybody who's watching, how could they reach you? Where can they reach you, Oliver?
Sure. I would just want to make one comment
Sure.
to finish up my last thing I was saying.
Absolutely.
You must get kids to weigh in before you can get them to buy in.
Okay.
That's the
Yes.
terminology in the parenting industry. So I
Right.
flip that to say connect with them first before you can connect, before you
Right.
can
Right.
correct. So if you want a child to clean their room and all that stuff without you telling them, there's a way to get them to. You have to get them to weigh in before you can get them into buying and to
To
clean up
buy
their room all
in.
the time,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So there's a strategy. There's everything is it's a parenting is a thing, Maxine.
Oh,
It's not you just
telling
have
me.
kids and you're a parent. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
There's a
It's
science behind it.
yeah, and I so I'm learning,
Yes,
Um
there's a science behind it. And
yeah,
parenting is two
definitely.
things. Parenting is two things. And this is gonna surprise you. Relationship building and personal
Okay.
development. That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that. Very,
Yeah, the
very good.
personal
Yes.
development is the emotional intelligent piece, right?
Audience, please connect with this guy. Book your session. He's giving it for free.
So
Um,
anyways, it's mindfulparentingtoolkit.com and go there and regular you'll see a free I forget what it's called now. Just click that and you're in for free. But for
Perfect.
those who are watching this program, I'm gonna give you 2 sessions for free, complimentary,
So put
right?
a
And that's
comment
and
below,
then
everyone. Put a comment
on
below
all
that you're
all
watching
social
this
media,
program.
you can hit me up on all social media and Mindful Parenting Toolkit.
Awesome. Well, Oliver, I do thank you again for being a guest. I really appreciate everything that you've taught us, and I hope that some of the information has been a benefit to our audience. Um, and also, before we go, I just want to mention my upcoming event that's happening on August 15th. It is a yoga wine tour and tasting. And for if you'd like to, yeah,
Say that
and
again. What's the date?
it's August 15th. It's a yoga wine tour and tasting. So it's mainly women. People have asked me to open it to men as well, but it's kind of sort of too late. But I
I'm
will be
starting up my
open to
wife because my wife is into yoga now.
absolutely tell her about it. Go to my website at livewellwithmaxine.com. It's there. Or it's on my Instagram bio. You can click on the link. It's all over my Instagram. So I just want to share that with everyone. So in the meantime, I do thank you for coming on the show. I thank the audience for watching and for your feedback. In the meantime, everyone, have a good night and stay well. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.